Hello and welcome to the Central Television. I am Lekon Onabanjo. The top stories at this hour. President Tinubu orders manhunts for killers of traveling hunters in Edo State. Suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara denies allegations of conniving with militants to blow up oil pipelines. Saudi Arabia confirms Sunday for Eid-el-Fitr festival. Details to come your way shortly. Let's begin by telling you that President Bola Tinubu has condemned the murder of traveling hunters intercepted by local vigilantes in the Uromi community of Esan North local government area of Edo State. The president, who expressed shock at the dastardly act on Thursday, directed police and other security agencies to conduct swift and thorough investigations and punish the suspected culprits. President Tinubu commiserated with the families of the affected victims and assured them that criminals would not be allowed to shed the blood of innocent Nigerians in vain. The president noted that jungle justice has no place in Nigeria and all Nigerians have the freedom to move freely in any part of the country. In the meantime, 14 suspects have been arrested in connection with the brutal killing of 16 travelers in Edo State on Thursday. The victims, believed to be hunters, were lynched by a mob in the Uromi area of the state after being suspected of criminal activity. According to the Edo State Police Command, the travelers were in a truck coming from Elele River State when they were stopped by a local vigilante group. Some of the travelers were found with locally made guns, which led to accusations of kidnapping. The situation quickly escalated as vigilantes raised alarm, prompting an attack by the mob, which resulted in the deaths of 16 individuals. Police officers responded quickly, rescuing 10 of the travelers, 2 of whom were injured and are now receiving medical treatment. Authorities have since convened a meeting with local stakeholders to address the violence. Earlier, a public affairs analyst, Ibrahim Momo, joined us to share his thoughts on this.
Justice is triggered by disinformation or misinformation and the raise of false alarm. It's also a function of rumor mongering and a lack of cohesion, national cohesion among different ethnic nationalities in the state, in the country, I should say. In this particular instance, the first trigger was that these were people were traversing the community, Uromi community, from a particular section of the country, from the north. And so that was the first trigger. There's this kind of distrust among ethnic nationalities in the country. So that for me is the first trigger for this one. But generally, it is for me a lack of fellow feeling, because even if there were doubts, even though there were misconceptions, or there were genuine fears of the character of the individuals who were victims of this mob criminal conduct, the ideal thing is to report to the security services. But the irony was that in this particular instance, it was the Edo State-owned vigilantes, the Edo Security Network, as they call them, that raised the alarm upon fetching the vehicle, the trailer in which they were traveling from Port Harcourt through Edo State to Kano.
We now head to Rivers State, where former Rivers State Head of Service George Umweke has denied claims from his wife Florence that he was kidnapped. In a video released on Saturday, Umweke clarified that he is safe in Abuja, where he voluntarily went to report to security agencies about the recent developments in Rivers State. He explained that he resigned as head of service earlier this week and dismissed his wife's claims, suggesting she had been misled. Nweke emphasized that he's working in Abuja and not under any duress. Florence, in an emotional interview, expressed concern over her husband's safety, saying she was alarmed after watching a video interview with him, which she found suspicious. She had tried contacting him, but his phone was set to be unreachable.
happening. And I say good morning, gentlemen of the press. I'm back to you this evening. My name is George Weke. I'm in Transcorp, Abuja. I came in here this morning from Port Harcourt to meet with security agencies to report myself and to report the things that are happening in the state that are making me to feel sick. Actually, I was head of service until Monday, the 4th, and I resigned because of things that are happening. So, after the press interview I granted, I just saw a video of my wife, trending, where they went to hold her and they fed her with all kinds of fallacies. They told her to be kidnapped. I want to clear this. I am not kidnapped. I am in Abuja. This is Transcorp Hotel, where I'm lodging. And they told her that I was kidnapped and she's crying, and they wrote a script for her to say all sorts of things. I want to put this straight. I am the head of service, and I'm on oath. My wife does not know the things that happen in my office. I don't discuss anything about office to her. It's only my domestic or social matters that we discuss. So that script they wrote for her is null and void. So I want to clear the air that I am safe, I'm fine, I'm in Abuja. By tomorrow morning, I intend to go to the security agencies to report myself. So my coming to Abuja was based on the fact that Abuja is where all the headquarters of security agencies are housed. So I came here and I think I'm safe here to make this report here so they can investigate. And I'm saying that I'm on oath. If I allow any of those things, they will take me up. But I'm reporting exactly what I know.
In the meantime, suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara denied allegations leveled against him by a former head of service of the state, George Nweke, and is asking Nigerians to disregard them. Among the accusations Nweke leveled against Fubara was that of conniving with militants to blow up oil pipelines in the state amid the political crisis rocking Rivers. But Fubara, in a statement he signed personally early on Saturday, described Nweke's comments as laughable. The governor said that Nweke has been compromised and whatever he is saying is only aimed at fulfilling his promise to those who may have paid or coerced him to lie. To discuss this development in Rivers State, we are joined by a rights lawyer, Henry Ekene. Mr. Ekene, thank you so much for coming around.
Thank you, Lekon, for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so what do you make of the videos and the weighty allegations by the former head of the Rivers State Civil Service against Fubara?
For me, again, I thought we have come to a point where there have been too many concerns by legitimate, reasonable, and responsible indigents and residents in Rivers State. But when I saw those videos, both the video that the former head of service, Dr. George, reading a piece and clearly being directed to read from a written text, and then I later saw a video of his wife, a very terrified wife, lamenting about the whereabouts of her husband unknown to her. And then the third video that you're showing right now on your screen, I think for me it came again another disturbing moment. But what has come clearly to me is that it does appear that those who are orchestrating a rather non-existent crisis in Rivers State are beginning to unfold. I have some fundamental rhetoric questions here. Dr. George was in Port Harcourt as the head of service and just recently resigned. And I think that all the security agencies in this country have their offices in Rivers State. He never considered to go to the Commissioner of Police to make any report that he's probably purporting to want to go make, but now the Inspector General of Police. The 6th Division, the headquarters of the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army will have a general officer commanding. He never thought to go in there. The State Security Services has an office in Port Harcourt with the state director. He never went there. So certain questions will be asked. People are not all unreasonable. What and why did he go to Abuja, where he claimed that he's in Abuja to report himself or to present himself before security agencies? Over what? To the best of my knowledge, I'm not aware that Dr. George, who had just resigned, his office as former head of service has any invitation by any of the security agencies to come clarify any issue. I'm not even sure that he said that. He didn't say whatever the purpose he was going to go to the security agencies to make any report or to present himself. This is suspicious. And then again, especially the video that has been in circulation, if he was to grant a press interview, was it only to a single television station? Well, it's his choice. And again, in a hotel room, it's his choice as well. But this, if I put it in context with the stories that are here in Rivers State, the allegation of a former commissioner in Rivers State being his friend and then inviting him to Abuja. And then, of course, that former commissioner is an ally to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, currently at the moment.
Okay.
Henry Obi, I know very well, from Abuja local government area, former executive director of finance and administration in the NDDC, and then also one of those commissioners under Fubara's administration that were, if you like, say, imposed on him, and then also resigned, and is a clear ally to
now,
the Federal Capital Territory Minister. It's happening in Abuja just a few days after the resignation of George. All of these we put in clear permutation what is really going on.
All right, Henry, permit me to come in this way. I mean, Fubara was accused of the destruction of the state assembly building, and earlier on you said that Nweke was forced to read that particular statement on TV. But then don't you think that Nweke, looking at that statement, he has some sort of sufficient legal evidence to back up his claims?
Yeah, I think perhaps until the governor of Rivers State approaches the court, that we would also expect to see what clear evidence that George has. But at the moment, let me tell you, Lekon, George's statements are clearly statements that are highly likely to be hearsay. I am not sure he said that he was in a meeting with the governor with some supposed militants discussing, then he should be invited, discussing a purported plan to blow up valuable infrastructure and assets of the federal government. If George is saying someone told him, then it's hearsay. We are waiting the day he will appear before the court. But again, let us also consider the reaction of the governor, who has said clearly that these were false statements, fabricated, and probably foisted on George, whom he had known and worked with, by some persons suspected to be instigating or inciting George to say what he's saying. And that is not far from the fact where someone was saying, read from the text I have prepared for you. But whatever it is, I think that the coming days will unfold the realities of some of these issues in Rivers State. Recall, Lekon, I've been on your platform several times, and I've always said that all of these crises in Rivers State, which for me are non-existent, are orchestrated. It's only unfortunate that the state of Nigeria appears to be in that conspiracy against Rivers State. I mean, the Nigerian state. It took those who wanted the governor ousted from office, not just the Rivers State House of Assembly, and they didn't succeed, but now getting to the presidency and the National Assembly into that conspiracy to unconstitutionally out the governor of Rivers State from office. And I dare say, Leko, that some will say, oh, he has not been removed. The governor has been removed from office. Suspension is a temporary removal. There can be two aspects of removal, either temporary removal or permanent removal. The governor of Rivers State from office and deprived from performing his function, albeit temporarily, whether you call it suspension, is a removal. And that's the argument that is unconstitutional. The president didn't have that power, and the National Assembly also didn't have that power.
All right, Henry.
Unfortunately, there is a conspiracy against Rivers State by the powers that are prepared to twist even the law and suspend the constitution and do what they are doing to Rivers State.
Henry, you seem to have taken a stand on this matter already. But then let's look at what the law, the legal process should be. I mean, we're talking about unraveling the actual truth as regards all these allegations against Fubara, and of course the need for investigation. Now, to get down to the real truth, what process should Fubara take, and probably all those vested in this particular situation?
Apparently, I think the first step shouldn't be Fubara I think a judge who appears to want to purport to be a good citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, performing his civil constitutional responsibility to bring now an information that he had got since supposedly that a certain Fubara has had a meeting with some persons, including him perhaps, and plan to commit a crime. And he says he wants to go to the security agencies, perhaps to present certain facts to the security agencies. What legally will follow is that the security agencies can commence investigation. But remember, the governor of Rivers State is still the governor of Rivers State and clothed with immunity. He cannot be prosecuted. But I have argued that it can be investigated. The investigations can go on. So that's the first legal approach or process. If the accuser feels that and those conspirators feel that there is any prima facie case, they should present it before the security agencies for investigation. Then on the side of Fubara, since Fubara has dissociated himself from such purported meeting with militants or any plan to blow up infrastructure in Rivers State and has said that this is a lie, he has also the window to approach the courts on defamation of his character, which is a civil suit. But again, all of these, I think that the Rivers people too have a role to play. We give the mandate to the governor. And what we're saying is all means possible, the roundabout way to incriminate and blackmail our governor. And the governor of Rivers State remains the governor of Rivers State. This has become a collective fight. There is no more sitting on the fence. Even if I'm a lawyer and then a human rights advocate, there is no more sitting on the fence as a Rivers indigent and resident here. It is clear, and every responsible Nigerian has to join in this fight to redeem and rescue Rivers State. Even the media, the narrative in the media should be such as be investigative. And enough is enough. Otherwise, this will go into another state. It's beginning to brew elsewhere. They are preparing to do the same thing in Bayelsa State. And perhaps there's even a snippet of it in Edo State. So anywhere the opposition is or anybody speaking against this conspiracy, they want to go on a target. Don't forget, just yesterday, the Federal Capital Territory Minister had said he was going to make sure, set fire, and indeed make it impossible for the governor of Rivers State to have a smooth run in the state. Publicly, the media carried that. Nobody has investigated him. It didn't mean anything to the state. It didn't mean anything to the security agencies. Little me in my closet.
Okay, Henry.
To remind the Nigerian state and security agencies of this kind of threat. It's treasonable as a matter of fact. And nobody said anything.
All right, thank you so much, Henry Kine, for sharing these legal perspectives with us on the news. Appreciate that. We go on a very short break on the news. When we return, Abia sensitizes stakeholders ahead of proposed Rubella measles vaccination. We'll tell you more in a bit. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now we tell you that the Independent National Electoral Commission has stated that a recall process is more expensive and complex than a senatorial election, requiring multiple stages of verification and voting. Speaking during an X-Space discussion, INEC Chairman Special Advisor Professor Mohammed Kuna explained that a recall demands extensive staff mobilization, technology deployment and logistics, making it equivalent to conducting 3 senatorial elections. INEC confirmed receiving a petition seeking the recall of Senator Natasha Akpotudwanga of Kogi Central following her suspension from the Senate. Over 200,000 registered voters have reportedly signed the petition. Now, we tell you that the Lagos State Police Command has confirmed the arraignment of Abiola Odutayo in connection with the death of Adetunjo Paleye, co-founder of Bumper, popularly known as TJ. Odutayo has been charged with reckless and careless driving, which allegedly led to Opaleye's death on March 4, 2025. Following her discharge from the hospital, she appeared in Court 1, Tinubu, on March 12, where she was granted bail. The case has been adjourned until April 16. Public outrage has intensified, with over 35,000 Nigerians signing a petition demanding stricter charges, including manslaughter. Witnesses claim Odutayo failed to assist the critically injured Opayele. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Ministry of Justice has been urged to ensure a thorough investigation as calls for justice continue to grow. Away from that, in a remarkable display of religious harmony and political solidarity, The Obedient Movement in Lagos hosted a joint iftar and Lent feast, bringing together Muslims and Christians to foster unity and togetherness. The event took place in the heart of Lagos. It saw members of the movement gathering to break their fast and share a meal in the spirit of love and inclusivity. News Central's Israel Eferobo was there and our reports.
I just believe that the time is getting close.
Attendees at the gathering expressed their joy at the initiative, emphasizing the need for continued cooperation among different religious groups. Many participants highlighted how the event symbolized a commitment to peace and understanding.
Elijah, you're welcome.
While speaking at the event, Director General, National Coordinator, Obedient Movement expressed the importance of the occasion.
To pray for Nigeria and while we break our fast together as both Muslims and Christians. This is very important to us. This is a rounding up of the whole month program that we've gone throughout the whole region of the Federal Republic. There's no region that has not been touched with this feeding program of His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi.
Tanko also shared hopes for a new Nigeria where everyone will work together to move the country forward irrespective of political affiliation and tribal bias.
I'm a Kano man, a proud Kano man. I'm supporting Peter Obi, who is from the southeastern part of the country. That speaks in volume. As long as I believe we are all traded and working together, we are married, intermarried. A Yoruba man has married a Hausa woman. An Igbo man has married a Yoruba woman. A Delta person has married a Delta, maybe a Yoruba man or an Ibibio woman. And we are intertwined together. So whether we like it or not, we cannot divide those children. Those children remain Nigeria. Nigeria will remain as one by the grace of God.
So we are gathered here to have a good time between the Christians and the Muslims to break the fast together. It's a unique thing to see in our society of today. In our society where some politicians have decided to divide us, through religion and tribe. But we are here to say that is not who we are. We are Nigerians. We are one. And of course, we are guided by the principles of love, of unity, progress. And, that is why the Obedient Movement has gathered here today to have the iftar and, of course, the breaking of fast together amongst the Christians and the Muslim brothers.
An interactive session was also held between the leaders of the Obedient Movement and its members. During the session, participants engaged in discussions about strategies and political engagements as the 2027 elections approach.
2027 is going to be a different ballgame. We will be there in our polling units to secure our votes and to protect our votes.
I'll be very happy. I want everybody in Lagos and all Nigeria, not only Lagos, let them come out and support the candidates.
Today's event is just us coming together as a people of Nigerians, because Nigerian first and across faiths come together to celebrate with our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Following the discussions, participants proceeded to a nearby mosque for prayers, further underscoring the interfaith unity that the event sought to promote. The highlight of the day was the communal breaking of fast, where Muslims ended their day-long Ramadan fast while Christians joined in the feast, symbolizing unity and shared humanity. In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Eferobo.
To health matters now. Amidst Nigeria's continued challenge with air and environmental pollution, Iwekoro local government area in Ogun State adds to the increasing statistics as residents are still burdened with the after effects of the activities of a major player in the cement manufacturing industry situated in the host communities of Iwekoro and Akimbo, about 64 years since operations began. In this report, News Central's Aishat Salihu investigates the issues beneath this challenge, calling on authorities to do right by committing to one health approach in order to optimize health outcomes for all.
Iwekoro is a major destination for industrial plants, but beneath the surface of this easygoing community, a silent killer is taking hold. Air, environment, water and noise pollution impacting the environment and human health in distinct ways. The cement industry that powers these towns is fueling a growing crisis that threatens the health and social well-being of the vulnerable population.
It's affecting us by blasting. They are blasting. When they are blast, it vibrates the land that can cause earthquake. So that is why the buildings are cracking. The vibration, yes, is the causes.
Ìlera ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó jẹ́ kókó tó yẹ kí wọ́n bá mú ní ọ̀kúnkúndùn. Ṣé ti ń ṣe tó jẹ́ pé gbogbo ìmú gan ẹlòmíì gan nílùú kò yẹ kó tí ì darúgbó tó ti máa darúgbó pàjáwìrì àpàpàǹdodo lórí kíní air pollution wọn tó máa ń dust tó máa ń káàkiri kò síbi tí ò kí ń dé irú bá ṣe wà bí báyìí sìn ó jẹ́ ìmú gan ẹlòmíì gan kò yẹ kó tí ì kú tó yẹ mọ̀ pé tó bá ti fa dust símú ó máa tètè kú. For
65-year-old Shakirat Oloyede, a native and resident of Ewekoro community, the air she breathes every day is a constant struggle. Shakirat has been living with some health conditions that worsen with the rising levels of air and environmental pollution in her neighborhood.
The thing where they happen is too much because the dust, they affect us. They affect our nose, mouth, and eyes, and our chest. If anybody cough that time, now that dust, now it go bring out from the mouth. And when we are going to hospital to take care of ourselves, then go treat chest for cough, and the eyes, then they treat it for us. As they go to hospital, the money now from my pocket, now they use to treat myself. Nobody they help me, give me money or support me.
The rapid industrialization, vehicle emissions, dilapidated road structure, and also carbon emission arising from the activities of the cement factory in a Ewekoro community have led to a decline in the air quality right here. There seem to be debates over the decades, but what is unclear is why the community refused to relocate after admitting the cement company suggested the option.
lóòótọ́ wọ́n sọ pé ká relocate a lè relocate nítorí pé kí ni ibi tá à ń gbégun ẹ̀ tún ṣe lẹ́yìn fẹ́ relocate wa ṣó ti yé sí àfi kẹ́ ẹ̀ tún ṣe náà tẹ́ bá tún ṣe la máa jọ jókòó gbogbo a máa jókòó ní village la máa sọ̀rọ̀ kó kí o yá kí la ká ṣe kí ni assurance pé tá a bá relocate tá a bá lọ ṣé a máa rí nǹkan gbà mọ́ àbí báwo lẹ ṣe fẹ́ ṣe.
Ononode Monsuru, a youth representative who has lived in Ewekoro all his life, like many others, says all he wants from the ongoing deliberation is compensation for repairs on his building structure ahead of the rainy season.
So, waiting cause this thing, the major something is that because of the dust of the wako, of lavage, is making cake for the whole zinc, turn it to asbestos, which is not asbestos, it's the zinc. So now all the zinc turn to asbestos. When rain is fall, we can't take the water. The water is very bad for us to take. So though Lafarge, they are trying their best, but we need their efforts to continue to do it for us.
Experts worry that prolonged exposures to cement dust and mine blasts would affect the quality of life in the communities.
The particles are so tiny, because these ones we are seeing, there are ones you cannot even see. There are ones that are so tiny that can pass through your nostrils. Your nose have protection, have those hairs that can protect something heavy from passing through. But there are also some that are so tiny that they can pass through. You can start having asthma, you can start having bronchitis, start having lung diseases that is a factor to lung cancer. So if you calculate somebody that's 65 years or maybe 50 years of his life or her life has been exposed to this, so the quality of life will not be as good as someone that is not exposed to that.
As for the way forward,
the issue is this: whether they are there legally or not, or illegally, we have a duty towards them as a government. We have a social contract to protect the well-being of the people of the state. So they are part of the people we have to protect. So, but we have to do it cautiously. And if we have to apply moral suasion, with Lafarge, we will do that. And if they have any convincing evidence to show that, look, they are right, I mean, let them come forward with it. I can tell you, we are here to protect them.
All efforts to get the multinational cement company, who has been mentioned as the key player in this air, water, environment and noise pollution allegations, to respond and state their stand, proved abortive, as they did not grant interviews after inquiries were sent. As the cement factory continues to exist in the host communities and status quo maintained, so too does the threat of air, environment, water and noise pollution on health outcomes. But with the right implementation of policies, better industrial practices and public awareness, it is possible to turn the tide. In Ewekoro, Ogun, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Still on health-related stories, the need to curtail the spread of Rubella measles and to further sensitize critical stakeholders in Abia State has been emphasized. Wives of mayors of the local government areas, female deputy mayors and health specialists, among others, at the instance of the wife of Abia State Governor Priscilla Oti, converged on Umuahia, the state capital. News Central's Chumogili has more in this report.
Rubella measles is a contagious viral infection that causes a rash and could be very dangerous for pregnant women, causing birth defects. As a result, this awareness program is organized for those believed to be closest to the grassroots, the wives of the mayors. Health experts explain the virus, the symptoms and ways of preventing it.
There has been a downward trend with the monovalent vaccine. But this vaccine is going to be much more efficacious because that includes the Rubella vaccine and the measles vaccine.
If they don't get vaccinated, they risk contracting and spreading measles and Rubella, and will lead to severe outbreaks and the complications we have already outlined, especially for children and pregnant women.
Wife of the Abia State Governor Priscilla Oti, represented by the Commissioner for Women Affairs Maureen Ahohwa, dispels the myths and misinformation being peddled about the vaccine.
The truth is that millions of children around the world have been safely vaccinated, and it is because of vaccination that measles and Rubella have been drastically reduced in many countries. The essence of this meeting today is to arm you with the relevant information that will enable a vigorous campaign for the acceptance of this vaccine in your local communities.
The Executive Secretary of Primary Healthcare Development Agency in Abia State, Dr. Carlo Olokalo, says government is willing to offer the vaccines at no cost in the various communities.
The vaccines, the people, the end users are mostly at the grassroots level, at the local government level. So
some of the participants say they are now better equipped with knowledge to educate their people on the vaccine.
I intend going back to my local government to sensitize my women, call women together, educate them, go to the different villages, and then let them know about the virus, and then make sure they vaccinate their children, because some of them are afraid, some of them do not even know about this virus.
Should Nigeria, as one of the 19 remaining countries in the world that is yet to begin the rubella measles vaccination, worry about the quality?
And for people to have embraced it that much will tell you how safe it is. So it's a pointer to the fact that it's very safe.
So what we are doing here today is advocacy, is sensitization campaigns, bringing it to the grassroots so that our people can be aware that there's something in the pipeline.
Rubella is a type of measles that can spread through direct contact with the saliva or mucus of an infested person or through the air by respiratory droplets produced from coughing or sneezing. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ukeli.
The federal government has inaugurated a committee to address the power crisis affecting the nation's health sector, particularly in tertiary health facilities. The Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Isiaq Salako, while inaugurating the committee in Abuja ahead of the National Dialogue on Power in the Health Sector, says that energy sufficiency is critical to strengthening healthcare services across the country. Salako outlined the committee's key responsibilities, which include convening our national stakeholders dialogue and ensuring the effective implementation of the dialogue's recommendations, including mobilizing resources for sustainable electrification. Away from that, the economic significance of the fish industry in Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno cannot be overstated. However, the sector faces sustainability challenges due to inadequate infrastructure, poor fish handling, and a lack of modern processing facilities. New Central's Omar Kirawa explores how the surge in demand for fish is revitalizing the local economy.
Borno's abundant waterways, particularly around Lake Chad, have made fishing and aquaculture key economic drivers in the state. Local fish farmers and fishermen report a steady rise in both domestic consumption and regional exports.
As I'm talking to you, I have more than 15 people in my guest house where they came to buy this fish from Onitsha, Aba, Owerri, Umuahia, even Lagos, because I think every part of the country, all the states are coming to this place to buy the fish because it's very unique, like I said initially. So there is this thing about Borno fish that bring people together. Everywhere you go to, the fish is very, very different from any other fish.
I used to buy almost every week. I used to come and buy, and the fish is of different type. So it depends on the type you want to buy. All of them are good. They are sweet.
A cikin naira miliyan 2 da ka sai kwali 20 din nan a misali a naira 100 ba ma ki ka sai da shi miliyan 2,300 a sati za ka samu naira 300 to ka ganin ka samu wata ya kake gani a yafi yankin gwamnati.
Despite this growth, many fish traders and farmers struggle with poor storage facilities, leading to spoilage and a lack of access to cold chain technology.
Gwamnati da yandero ce kasuro hangal ganazu andero bana wuzu kasuro taida da tallafi mara da zina kuru kasu ne da gyara kasuwa ga da wumiya taida za labara suka ci gaba da mara da yana
in gwamnati ta taimaka mana da abin kama kifin gaba ɗaya mu ta gama mana komai matasan mu na Borno wannan kusan rabin su ma za su samu aikin yi
kusu ku yare ba mana ba ande bin kilan da magana da sa usungawa yana shirma kurun mar andero fitana zuna do sa gana lallan gwamnati ya da andero su do federal government de gwamnatin da ro ngairo muko ginazo kala lamar bunye ladin hutu bunye tijara yana.
Transporting fish from riverine areas to urban markets remains a major challenge due to poor road networks. Many hope the long-awaited reconstruction of the Maiduguri-Mafa-Gamborungala road will ease these difficulties.
I happen to say I'm the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and indeed the members of the National Assembly. We work closely to see how we shall rehabilitate the failed Maiduguri to Road.
As the industry continues to expand, experts believe Borno has the potential to become a leader in sustainable aquaculture, strengthening food security and creating jobs.
Fish alone can employ a number of people, contribute millions, at least hundreds of millions to both the state and the local government, if properly managed, monitored and taxed as it ought to be. And I said earlier, the most important or the most significant component is the ability of the government, especially the state government, to go and set up the machinery or the process of mechanized processing that will make it more healthier, smarter, less chemicalized and efficient.
A lecturer at the University of Maiduguri highlights the need for eco-friendly fishing practices and value-added processing to maximize the industry's potential.
That of Baga fish in Maiduguri alone is quite significant. If you take an average of just 25 trucks coming into Maiduguri daily for onward sales, both from within Maiduguri and to other states of the nation, you discover it's a huge chunk of money. The average price of the big ton of fish is about 105,000 naira. And the average load per car is about 225 cartons. If you multiply that 105,000 times 225 cartons, what you discover is the amount is staggering. You are talking about well over 2 billion naira per week. That is coming into 2,312,600,000 naira value of fish coming into Maiduguri every week.
Investing in the fish business is said to be critical to create multiplicity of job opportunities to teeming youth, particularly those recovering from the years of insurgency in Nigeria's northeast. From Baga Fish Market in Maiduguri, for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Coming up on the news, Guinea's former dictator Musa Dadis Camara pardoned from 20 years imprisonment sentence. We'll tell you more about this and other stories when we return. Join us again. We'll now tell you that Guinea's former dictator Musa Dadis Camara has been pardoned by the country's military junta for health reasons. This comes after a landmark trial where he was sentenced to 20 years in prison for his role in the 2009 massacre at an opposition rally. On September 28, 2009, at least 156 people were killed, hundreds were injured, and at least 109 women were raped during the brutal crackdown. Camara was found guilty of crimes against humanity for his role in suppressing the demonstration and failing to punish the perpetrators. The pardon follows Guinea's junta's announcement that it will cover compensation for victims with amounts ranging from 200 million to 1.5 billion Guinean francs. Looking at other continents now, Saudi Arabia has confirmed Sunday for the Eid-el-Fitr celebration after the crescent of Shawwal was sighted on Saturday. The announcement was made on Haramain's official Facebook page, a recognized platform for the global Muslim community. The statement confirmed that the sighting marks the beginning of the new Islamic month, signaling the end of Ramadan. The statement read that the crescent moon for the month of Shawwal 1446 has been sighted in Saudi Arabia. Therefore, Eid-el-Fitr will be celebrated on Sunday, March 30, 2025. With this confirmation, millions of Muslims worldwide have begun preparations for the festivities, which mark the conclusion of the holy month of fasting, praying, and reflection. In business, Nigeria's crude oil market is experiencing sluggish demand, with about 15 April loading cargoes still unsold, according to Argus Media. The decline in demand is attributed to European buyers opting for cheaper alternatives like U.S. West Texas Intermediate and Caspian CPC blend. However, Nigeria is set to introduce a new crude grade called Obodo in April, produced by Continental Oil and Gas from OML 150 and marketed by NNPCL. Obodo, a medium sweet crude, is expected to be priced similarly to Bonga. The development follows Nigeria's recent additions of Utapait and Nembe, expanding its medium sweet crude supply. Europe remains Nigeria's primary crude market, but competition from alternative sources continues to pressure demand. In sports, Crystal Palace won a sixth successive away match across all competitions without conceding, with a 3-0 victory over Fulham at the Craven Cottage, sending them through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup for the third time in the last 9 years. The visitors welcomed striker Jean-Philippe Mateta back into the starting 11 for the first time since his horror injury in the previous round. Ibericheze, who backed up his maiden England goal by grabbing his first goal, turned provider to double the visitors' lead with a pinpoint cross that was headed in by Ismail Assar. Daichi Kamada released fellow substitutes Eddie Nketiah to slot past Bernd Leno, putting the side on a comprehensive victory that books their place in the semi-final at Wembley. We also tell you that Yakub Mensik joined an exclusive club occupied by tennis legends after earning a thrilling win over Taylor Fritz to reach the 2025 Miami Open final. The rising Czech star defeated the world number 4 7-6, 4-6, 7-6 in a 2-hour and 24-minute semi-final at the Hard Rock Stadium. In a serve-dominated contest, Fritz secured the only break of the match in the second set, while Mensik won the first and third set tiebreaks that proved pivotal. The 19-year-old, who is seeking his maiden title, is through to his second career final and first at ATP Masters 1000 level, where he will face 24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic, who he has named as his biggest idol in Sunday's final. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, we'll look at our top stories again. President Tinubu has ordered manhunt for killers of traveling hunters in Edo State. Suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has denied allegations of conniving with militants to blow up oil pipelines. We also told you that Saudi Arabia has confirmed Sunday for Eid-el-Fitr festival. Do send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. And you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. And don't forget to watch us live on DSTV 422, GoTV 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.